As of Thursday, May 18, 2023, a number of listeners of Citi FM, 97.3 Citi FM, who are tuned into the biggest breakfast show on radio, the Citi Breakfast Show, hosted by Bernard Avle and the team, were thrown into a state of panic. Most people did not know what had happened, but the station had to go off for a number of hours. The issue was rectified. The station has been on air since. We want to find out exactly what triggered this and, of course, the solutions thereof. The managing director of 97.3 Citi FM and Citi TV, Samuel Atamensa, is here, and he will be giving us the details as to what happened in the early hours of Thursday, May 18. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and welcome to the Citi News Show.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, as I earlier established, the station went off for a number of hours. We had a number of listeners tuned into the Citi Breakfast Show, and we received so many calls and messages after the station went off, and the manner in which it went off kind of threw people into a state of panic. Exactly what happened?
So this on this particular day, which is the 18th, as you put it, we were having our normal breakfast show, and at the time, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Abena Asare, was the one who was with Bernard and the team. And we had experienced a lengthy period of rainfall and storms. So within that period, there were some lightning activities. So it was a particular act of the lightning that caused a spike in the voltage, which now caused the electrical discharge. So what then happened was the lightning causing voltage spike, which hit our system very hard. But we have experienced this before at our transmission site in Aburi. And so because of prior experience, we have always had protective equipment, which is what saved the day. So we have a lightning arrestor on near around where the mast is, that's outside the building, and then we have a surge protector or a surge suppressor within the building, which is attached close to where the meter is. And so after that activity, the spike in current or voltage passed through the system and hit first the lightning arrestor. And what the lightning arrestor is supposed to do is to deflect the voltage, pass it through the system to the earth. So it was supposed to do that, but I think that it was a bit too high, but it went beyond that and got to the surge suppressor, which now held it together. And in the process, it also exploded, and that's where it ended. Now, there were sparks of fire, which caused the smoke that we saw. So the protective equipment is what actually kept us safe. And so within a period of 1 hour, everything was restored, and we're back on air.
We've experienced rainstorms in this country. The station has been running for a number of years, and based on the experience and intelligence picked up, we've installed these safety measures. But what were some of the human interventions we had to put in place this morning?
Well, this morning, I think it was a quick response. The fortunate thing is it was our peak period, which would mean that the numbers present physically was high. And so people noticed it quickly, and that's in reacting to this, they had to rush to the studio, which is the shouting that people heard, that people should come, because they saw smoke, and not everybody understands the chain of activities. So they shouted which caused an abrupt end to programming. So that intervention then followed by a quick call to the fire service, obviously because they saw smoke. And while at that, social media had gone berserk with exchanges. So the police also got wind of it in a different way, because I think some of the people were reporting that Citi FM was under attack, obviously with prior knowledge of what had happened before. And so the police came in, the ambulance was there, the fire service was there. Within minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, they were all there. But granted, at that time, the fire had gone off, but they came in, inspected the facility, and gave us the go-ahead to reconnect. And that's how come we restored transmission within 1 hour.
Contrary to reports, especially on social media, and especially to how the police got wind of this was an internal, more like a technical issue that was addressed internally.
Oh, electrical, voltage hikes, they do happen. They do happen. But the thing is, for most people, when it happens, it destroys the equipment. But because of the different layers of protection that we have installed, that's how come our equipment was not harmed, if you like. Yeah.
So this has happened. We're back on air. Everyone is safe. Programming is continuing normally. But going forward, how do you suppose we deal with such issues when they do?
I think that going forward, we don't expect that it will happen again. But it's a course of nature, and I think the way we handle this is the same way we will handle if it ever happens. Touch wood, because we're in a rainy season. And as I said, it's happened to us before, not in Adabraka, but it's happened to us in our Ahirase transmission plant. And on that occasion, we were not lucky. It destroyed our exciter, if you know the processes of radio transmission, which meant that we had to invest in a new exciter, which cost us well in excess of $50,000. So we learned our lessons from that, and we got into, and within 2 hours, we got the equipment replaced, and then everything is normal.
For the listening public, and there was so much panic. I had so many calls, so many messages. What assurances are we giving them?
Well, I can understand why people will panic. It's Citi FM, of course, so people will panic. But, we have done everything we know to do. We've had our technical people sort everything out. The fire service has been there to inspect, and at this point, everything is okay. And we are back to our full transmission.